peace.
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
Black lives matter.
Black lives matter.
Black lives matter.
No justice, no peace. No justice.
And Robert, we wanted to talk with you because you were one of the folks who helped to plan the Austin Justice Coalition protest that was supposed to be scheduled for today, correct?
Correct.
So tell me about what happened between the planning of the event to now. Why did you guys decide to cancel it?
Well, I was here at 10 o'clock this morning, and I realized that the state troopers were closing the gates. They didn't want anyone on the grounds, and we know once protesters are blocking the street, that's when police can use violence to clear the streets. So we just thought that in everyone's best interest, it would be safer to cancel the event. Now, we're not saying give up the fight or stop fighting because we're still really passionate about this, but we thought it would be safer for everyone to stay home.
And for you guys, had you heard reports or any kind of word from other people who were involved that there might be people who would try to co-opt an event like this or make it so that it was not safe?
No, I haven't really heard anything of that, but you know, just what we're seeing, we know that it's possible. Seeing on TV, on CNN, it's happening around the country. There are going to be individuals who are upset enough to make sure it becomes violent. And while I'm not mad at them for being so mad to be violent, we wanted to set an example and do this a peaceful way.
And I know you guys canceled the official event, but look behind you, you've got a couple hundred people out there. How do you feel looking out and seeing that?
It's like a bittersweet feeling. You know, they obviously care enough to be out here. They don't care about the event being canceled. They don't care about putting themselves at harm's way. They care more about Black lives. So it's really bittersweet, and regardless, although it's canceled, I want to be out here. If people are going to be out here, I want to be out here to support the message.
Robert, is there anything else you'd like to say to folks today?
Black lives matter.
Thank you so much.
I am definitely ready, Patrick and Hannah. I want to talk to Robert Guignard. He is one of the original organizers of today's protest. And both of us were just standing here a moment ago, just marveling at the amount of people that are coming down this street right now to stand in front of the Capitol with their signs and to chant. And this is incredible.
It is. It's a really bittersweet feeling. It's just bitter because we have to do this, but it's sweet just to know that we have this many people that's here to support and that care and that want change. So I'm happy that everyone showed up.
Now, I know that you had been working with the Austin Justice Coalition, and they were actually a little bit concerned about what was going to happen today and had put the word out that this was canceled.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You know, so I came out here at 10 o'clock this morning, and just how the police were setting up, they were closing the gates. It looked like they were preparing for war. And, you know, I sent a picture to the group, and we got on a phone call and decided, you know, we didn't want to put everyone in harm's way. But we didn't think the fight was going to end there anyway. We were going to keep fighting. But I knew people were going to show up anyway, so I knew I was going to be out here. And when I came out here at 12, it was already hundreds of people. So at that point, I say, okay, you know, let's just do it. Let's just fight for the cause.
And I know that the first group that showed up a little earlier at around noon 1, they actually walked all the way around. Tell me how far they walked, and you were part of that group as well.
Yeah, I was. We walked all the way to City Hall, and then we came back around past Lavaca, past Guadalupe, and came back up. So we made a nice little lap. There is one thing that's really concerning me about the entire situation. I think the police have to understand that we are upset. You know, we do want justice, and no one was doing any real damage to any properties. If you look around, there is graffiti that can be painted over. No windows are broken. Nothing is burned. But guess what? The police had the audacity to start the violence while we were by City Hall. They were shooting tear gas. They were shooting rubber bullets. And I think that's a message that need to be sent around the country, because once you start shooting things like that and we're protesting police brutality, it's only going to make people more mad. So if we're wanting to end police brutality and you come out showing police brutality, it's going to piss people off. Excuse my language, everyone.
Live TV, it happened.
I'm sorry. But yeah, and that really upset me. But, you know, again, like I said, it's a bittersweet feeling that this many people care about the cause and want change immediately.
Now, I've been talking to so many in this crowd and hearing their stories. How does what happened to Michael Floyd, to George Floyd, to Michael Ramos, how does that affect you? How has something like this personally affected you?
Well, I've experienced racism in Austin multiple times, and I've only lived here for 1 year. So I think that alone is sad to say. Austin does have a small black community, and you know, the community is getting smaller because of rampant gentrification, but that's another racist issue that we could deal with on another day. But you know, just hearing about Mike Ramos, it really felt like that was a family member, you know, a little brother or an older brother that happened to. You know, it should never have to come down to taking someone's life, and it really touched me to get out here and stop being quiet and being scared to speak up because of my professional career. Now going forward, I know every single time I'm gonna speak up, and I'm gonna do everything I can to make a difference.
And I want to wrap this up real quick because I know Michael Ramos' mother is about to speak at her press conference, but let's break it down. There is a difference between protesters and looters.
There is a difference between protesters and looters, but I will say this, I'm not picking a side. You know, I can't tell anyone how angry to be and how to display their anger. So I completely understand the looting, because most of the people are looting, they're poor. So it's another systematic error because they are so poor that they want to take those things. So I don't want to pick any side. I know this was emphasized to be a peaceful protest, so I do love that we did do that. But I'm not mad at the looters. I'm not mad at the people who are rioting and burning. You know, at this point, I think we all need to unify. And you know, some people are going to want to take the Martin Luther King approach, and some people are going to want to take the Malcolm X approach. But at this point, we all need to come together and know that we are fighting for the same thing.
Thank you so much for being with us. And Hannah and Patrick, I'm going to send it back over to you. I know that Michael Ramos' mother is about to speak and talk about the death of her son, and that should be happening very soon.
Yes, thank you so much, Quita, and thank you again for that live interview. You just heard from Robert there. He's with Black Lives Matter here in Austin, explaining why they did not want the protest to happen after what he says he saw this morning, and then saying that it was Austin police who started the violence at Austin City Hall.
That was another powerful moment, whether it's the energy of today, but these last two interviews with Quita, that was incredible. And I thought that was really interesting what he said about, he goes, you know what, I was out here at the Capitol today and I saw these troopers out here and it was like they were preparing for war. And it's been very interesting to see that, whether it's on social media or people talking, you know, a lot of people are analyzing, of course, these officers are kind of under that spotlight right now, whether it's looking at their body language.
Hello, everyone. So we've decided to cancel the protest today, just because our number one priority was to make sure that everyone remains safe. And earlier today, I learned that the Capitol grounds were closed and there were sheriffs and state patrol blocking the gates to even step on the grounds. Now, keep in mind that on April 18th, protesters were on the grounds, although the Capitol was closed to the public. But those protesters were protesting the reopening of Texas. For me, this does feel like a setup for violence. Given that 4,000 people are planning to attend and even more are interested, with the Capitol being closed, it's inevitable that protesters will be in the streets. And that's when the police can actually use violence to clear the area. I do think that this is an intimidation tactic, but it's more important that we keep the women and children of Austin safe. So with that being said, I want everyone to stay home. Our fight does not end here at all. It does not end here. And I really want everyone to show up in November to vote. And I want people to sign petitions to get justice for the multiple lives that are lost in this country due to the systematic racism. Just know that I do stand with everyone, and I love everyone for wanting to come out to fight for the better cause. Thank you, everyone.